When Tom Cotton was suggesting using the National Guard to repel the people trying to burn down the church in Washington, D.C., my gosh, he wrote an op-ed in the New York Times, and it ended up, the New York Times made themselves a story because they apologized for ever running his editorial, and then they said that they basically they wouldn't do it again. Didn't they take it down offline, like all kinds of stuff. And so now it's like what Tom Cotton was talking about, but on steroids times 11D. And here's the other thing that's kind of interesting, and I noticed this too. The Department of Homeland Security, because they're saying, oh, well, we're hearing chatter, so we're going to keep the guard there in D.C. Really? So the DHS, they issued a national terrorism advisory to last for several weeks. U.S. Department of Homeland Security, they said the acting secretary of Homeland Security has issued a national terrorism advisory system, NTAS, a bulletin today after consultation with the intel community and law enforcement partners. They said there's currently a heightened threat environment across the United States. It's likely to persist over the coming weeks. DHS does not have any information to indicate anything specific. A credible plot, however, violent riots have continued in recent days, and we remain concerned that individuals frustrated with the exercise of government authority and the presidential transition, as well as other perceived grievances and ideological causes fueled by false narratives, could continue to mobilize a broad range of ideologically motivated actors to incite or commit violence. Now, they say that the exercise of they said that there continued to be violent protests. You mean the stuff that's happening from the left in Portland, Seattle? You mean that? Because that's or in New York? Because those were the violent riots that I saw, but that the media doesn't want to discuss, as they never wanted to discuss all the other violent riots. I don't see any violent riots from the right anymore. I saw the Wednesday, the Capitol thing, where a group broke off from that peaceful protest and decided to thug it up. And guess what? They're all arrested and facing trial. Yep. The FBI's involved. The FBI never got involved for any Antifa or Black Lives Matter riots where entire blocks of communities were burned to the ground. They didn't get involved when someone attempted to burn down the church in D.C. I don't even think they got involved when they attacked a federal courthouse in Portland. They haven't gotten involved because, and this is my whole point, constantly pointing this out, the left considers violence acceptable for them. They consider your speech violence if you so much as disagree with them. But actual physical violence isn't violence to them. That's why they freaked out when I made a video and I played behind me all of the leftist violence. They literally said I was calling for it because I was condemning theirs and showing it behind me. Yeah. That's how they try to spin it. It's unbelievable. But that's the whole point in bringing it up, because there are people concerned that they sanction it, because they do. But what gets me here is you have the Department of Homeland Security. And I have issues with the Department of Homeland Security on certain things anyway, that go back to the Tea Party. I don't know if you all remember, but this was back in 2008, 2009. Some of us were criticizing politicians before Bush left office. Thank you. But I remember when the Tea Party really got started, the DHS put out this whole advisory. And I remember the Missouri Highway Patrol, which I still have over at my website, and the Democrat governor at the time, they put out a whole list saying that people who carry Gadsden flags, that could be a symbol of like domestic terror. People were actually named on lists. And by the way, that's a military authorized flag, the Gadsden flag. And they had the governor's name and the chief of Missouri Highway Patrol on it. This is back in 0809. So whenever I see stuff like this, it just harkens back to those days. They won't even actually name it. If you want to have if you want to name the ideology, what false narrative? What false narrative is getting the violent left out in the streets in New York and Portland and Seattle, where they've been raging for, like, I don't know, since all year? Over a year now? Because I know that you guys are not trying to just say that there's stuff going on so as to infer that what happened at the Capitol is still happening elsewhere or still even a threat at the Capitol. I mean, they said, oh, we don't have anything to indicate anything specific. They were just, we're concerned. That to me is totally suspect.